The following is for entertainment purposes only. We are not financial advisors. We are not responsible for any losses, only the profits.
Yeah, we get it. You think SPACs are dead. I kind of think they're dead too. But guess what? I still think we should have an arsenal ready and know everything about them. That way, when stuff does start clicking up, we're ahead of the game. We already know what we're in. Great time to be in. If you're not in right now, just get in. Just wait. It's time to do it. Let's go over some news. We've missed out on a ton. I haven't even had a second to get updated with it because we've been pivoting. We're trying to make you guys money. That's why we're here. We're going to talk about SRNG, Soaring Eagle. We're the best teams, SPAC teams out there. The people do DKNG, skills maybe. This is the big pharma GMO-y type of play, right? But they're making stuff easier to digest for foods. They even have consumer tech, fragrances, cannabinoids, insect repellents, high-tech electronics, environmental stuff, textiles, crop protection, flavors, sweeteners, nutrition, brewing, baking, microbiome therapeutics, biologics, gene therapy. This is the big, huge unicorn DNA play. Modification of DNA, let's call it that. Okay. The big deal is, though, this is the biggest one out there. This is the biggest in the space. This is one of those stocks that is probably going to be around forever. And I can see both the growth and the value folks get in here. There's already tons of money coming in. It's already valued in the billions, of course, like it should be. How are you going to recreate this company? You can't. There's no one even close to these guys. Like it or not, it's going to be here. Using biomining techniques to recycle compounds. This is kind of interesting. Some of the components in objects we use every day are difficult to recycle. By identifying proteins that selectively bind to these compounds, we can recover them from post-manufacturing or recycling material, moving us closer to a circular economy. Great. They're big on protein, so if they can pull more protein out of things and make it more absorbable for plants at the micro level, macro level for everybody, right? There's people who are anti-meat diets, right? But they still need their protein. And how they're going to get it? Eating a lot of this stuff. So you can make your fruits and vegetables have more proteins. It's crazy, right? They're doing it. Here's something that just came out. Ginkgo tees up its next acquisition just days after inking its $2.5 billion SPAC deal. Barely a week after the deal to go public, Ginkgo Bioworks, it's in its first move to extend its operations beyond the United States. The synthetic biology player is acquiring Dutch DNA Biotech, a contract manufacturing organization that makes enzymes, proteins, and organic acids using fungus-based technology. It's crazy, dude. This is some next level biology stuff. Under the deal, Ginkgo will acquire 100% of the Utrecht, Netherlands-based company through its combination of cash and equity. The company said in a statement, certain stakeholders of Dutch DNA will also collect payments later on if the company meets certain technical and commercialization goals. Ginkgo said it shared no financial details about the deal. This is one of the other big beauties about SPACs is it allows companies to do this. It allows them to monopolize in this space. Now they've got all this cash. They're going in and are going to buy this company and they're going to get worldwide exposure now instead of the United States. It's crazy. We've also got this play here. Kronos partners with Ginkgo to develop lab-grown cannabis, the green leaf stuff. A startup with ties to Bayer Aspirin has inked $122 million deal to make lab-grown green leaf, and it's eyeing the pharma industry. You're also getting that. Sequential synthesis DNA, insert DNA into yeast. It's crazy stuff. Most of me is not really for this. If you've ever heard of the butterfly effect, I think really messing with DNA and genes and proteins of even vegetables and plants and people, it's always going to have a big butterfly different effect throughout the whole ecosystem, and we don't even know when and where it's going to happen. It's impossible to tell. We could even test it for 1,000 years, and it could be in 1,001 years that actually has effect where it makes butterflies all turn pink. Just saying. We don't know the macro effect of all this. The micro level, it might seem better, right? Like, wow, we can make peanuts have twice the amount of protein and less fat. Seems cool, but when everything you're eating all is genetically modified, I think it's kind of weird, right? I know a lot of the nutritional value is actually out of vegetables and fruits. I think there's something like, if you had a carrot from 1950, the nutritional value and vitamins and stuff that are in it, it would take you 60 carrots nowadays to get the same nutritional value as the one from the 50s. Why is that? It could be from all the GMO pesticide stuff that is spread all over it and just killed off the nutrition. It could be because they were GMOing them, making it so they can grow them faster, and that killed all the nutrition. I don't know. But I think stuff is so genetically modified already that if we're going to add more nutrients into stuff, that's a good side. But again, it just gets kind of weird, right? Can't we just find an heirloom seed from 1950s carrot somewhere? Is there one out there? I don't know. It's one of those ones that's got $628 million of revenue slated for 2024, but they're also showing in the next 3 years, they're saying about 84% growth, which is huge. If they can get that kind of revenue, they're going to hit it. I think this is probably valued kind of fair. I'll be the weird guy, right? This could have been valued at 11 billion, right? But they're only 2-point-something billion for the golden unicorn of GMO stuff. I don't know. You can't recreate this. It's comparing itself to other big runners and stocks. It's saying it's better valued. We get it, okay? There's another side play, one that's kind of in the same realm. Benson Hill, have you heard of that? Benson Hill to go public in $1.35 billion SPAC deal. This is another GMO play, but it's focused on crop genomics platform. It's kind of cool. Star Peak Corp the second is the ticker on that, which is run by Illinois Star Peak, according to the press release. The deal, which is expected to close in the third quarter of 2021, will yield $625 million in capital for Benson Hill and value the company at around $1.35 billion. So this is not near as big as the last one we're talking about. Benson Hill CEO Matt Crisp will take the helm of the combination. They're kind of doing the same thing, right? Their pitch is plants, though, for sure. The other one is industrials, all the other stuff, along with plants. But they're saying how we provide value to the supply chain to customers. We increase protein content, enhance flavor profiles, reduce agricultural resource intensity, reduce processing steps and costs. They're just making the wheel a little bit more rounder. Plant-based burgers, more affordable, more sustainable. I don't know, man. They're pitching the ESG green thing hardcore, though. And this is where you definitely see the double-edged sword on. They're saying it's a pure ESG investment opportunity. I just can't agree with that. They're saying for climate action, good health and well-being, food hunger, clean water, sanitation, life below the water. So they're saying it's better for oceans. Some of it. How do they do that? They're going to lower CO2 emissions. Okay? So it's going to take less tractor work, but more biological work to get the stuff to grow without having to use pesticides. So there's that side where we're reducing CO2 and all that. But again, at the same side, if a fish has eaten the same algae for 2 million years, all of a sudden that algae is getting droplets of all this weird protein GMO stuff, and their diet's going to change. They're going to get more protein. It's going to change them, dude. If all of a sudden fish are getting 10, 5, 2% more protein, it's going to have a big macro effect. Because guess what? Something eats fish. Who? Humans, even bigger fish. It just happens. It even changes oxygen levels in the water through their poop, through their barf. You know, whales do that stuff. All that stuff is going to change. The pH of all that changes. When the pH of all that changes, oxygen levels in the water change. Am I going too deep? Just trying to get you to see the big picture here. This company is totally legit, though, too. We're talking about, they're all over the United States, 47,000 square foot facility with 20,000 square foot of dynamic adaptive Converon growth chambers. So they're growing stuff, testing stuff. It's another GMO play. Just don't get it twisted and think this is 100% real, totally good for the environment and the people, because I'm just not buying it. All right. It will probably reduce some CO2 along the way, but we just don't, and we'll never know the big macro picture of it. Just be aware of it. How I'm going to combat that, I've told you all before. My plan is to take the profits out of these plays and have a little organic farm. Maybe I'll start selling and brand that farm, whatever it's going to be. I don't know yet. Start selling. Maybe that'll combat the GMO, right? Remember, Bill Gates is the biggest farm owner in the United States. Does that blow your mind? Remember, he's involved with the first one. Best way to combat him is to make your own heirloom organic farm. Maybe. Let me know. Bright Machines. Have you heard of Bright Machines? Is coming to the SPAC stock market via ticker SCVX. This thing is pretty interesting. Transforming manufacturing. Here we go. More manufacturing stuff, right? My question right away is it a 3D printer play? Kinda. Bright Machines at a glance. Look at that machine thing. When it's building something, ooh, processors. Developing AI, artificial intelligence driven platform to lead the digital transformation of manufacturing. AI is defining the next frontier of manufacturing. The future is now. Great. Founded in 2018, that seems pretty new. To address an accelerating need for AI, we get it. Solution rigorously proven to collaborate with Flex. Has since been deployed to over 25 customers and 50 brands. Fast Company, Forbes, Inc., World Economic Forum, BMW, iVentures. Y'all ever been in a BMW iCar? Leading graphics processing unit, GPU manufacturer, blue chip customers. This one's going to be big. The team's, of course, always awesome. Synthetic shifts in global supply chains, demand for robustness and resiliency. It's making the wheel rounder again, but we're talking about manufacturing, processing, even chips. We need that. Yeah. Remember, F-150, Ford F-150 is the best-selling truck in the world, is not producing right now because of a chip. How ridiculous is that? This thing should help with that. In fact, it's going to lower labor efficiency or higher efficiency by 85%. That's huge. Speed and scale to market. They're sustainable, they're saying, which is true. The more robots we can get to make these things, the better. Do you see all these crazy brands right here? Highly fragmented, disparate, and niche supplier base. So suppliers for the big boys. This is like a middleman play. They're going to supply it through all these other people. They're going to play on all their contracts and sales they've already done, which is huge. Look at this thing. Programmable micro factory with continuously improving skills. This is like, let's call it 3D printing, but for real intricate rad stuff. Look at this. Big old machine. If you want to make some sort of chip, you can do it with this thing. They can do screwing, pick and place, heat sink assembly, basically build computers. All right, think of it that way. They can label, they can dispense, they can solder, clamping. They can even clamp something down, solder it, move it over here, add another chip on, another diode. I mean, this is a trip. Write once, build anywhere, no code programming. So they have a whole program system that you don't even need to know how to code to make something. That's crazy, dude. I want one of these too. I mean, this is one of those things. Imagine like at MIT or any of the big tech engineering colleges. Dude, I don't see how they're not going to have one of these or 10 of them. And these guys just geeking out building the craziest, coolest thing. Look at this though. Customer proven technology. Anything from subwoofers to coffee makers. You can do it. Makita drills, washing machines. It can build all the internal stuff. Maybe the external stuff too. I don't know, but this is nuts. Automotive, consumer, data center, network infrastructure. Let's call it crypto. This is a side crypto play. What if they can make GPUs? I'm sure they can. They can make the chips. They can also make racks. I love this play. This is like an even geekier 3D printer, if you ask me. Most 3D printers, stocks, they can just build like, something rad. I'll still take one. Like, you want to build something out of metal, you can just 3D print it. These guys are like, we can build something out of metal and do all the electronics for it. I love it. It looks like to me you can just like stack these side by side for a full-on assembly line. Oh wait, there's more. How about this? Electric vehicles. Yeah. They're going to be able to use this. You can print the whole guts internal assembly for electronic vehicle charging. If you had one of these things, you knew a buddy, he could probably print you one. I mean, that's crazy. This is next level stuff. Not just a handle we can print you now. Now we can print the guts for you. Industrial equipment, battery plays, medical devices. I love this one. I totally love it. How am I going to get into this one though? Maybe I'll cut some of my 3D printer exposure in half and probably put it into this one. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm completely sold. If you want to read more, come find the best presentation on my site and read more about it. How about Lion Electric? Y'all heard of them? The stock surges after order of 260 all-electric school buses. Is that no surprise? It shouldn't be. That's why you're in it. Lion Electric, it's going to be fine macro. If you're already in it, great. If you're not, I don't know, maybe wait for the next one. Could it be this right here? Aries? Have you heard of them? Aries demonstration truck with a fuel cell power in it. What is this? So this is a big old semi truck that you can get either electric or with a hydrogen fuel cell component in it. So this is CO2 reduced big boy vehicles. This is cool. There's a new SPAC, Younghung International and Giga Energy Inc. They own Aries basically, okay? They own the brand Aries. Announce executive and definitive share exchange agreement with potential value to approximately $7.354 billion. The other ones sound cheap right now, huh? These ones actually are rolling though. They seem like legit. Aries, by the way, this is still rumor land for this Younghung International and Gigafactory thing in Aries, right? I pulled what I could. It was very hard to find any information on it. I literally found one article that was actually telling me some meat on the bones. Aries, the brand, expects to produce 4,000 PEVs and FCVs in 2021, this year, at Wisdom Fujian's facility and across the 10,000 vehicle mark within several years. So they're building these. This is a now thing. This is a Nikola killer, Tesla killer that you can buy right now. They're producing 4,000 this year alone, 10,000 within 2 years. So these guys are in Asia somewhere, and they are hooked up with two of the biggest manufacturing facilities over there. They've got exclusive rights, I believe, in a partnership with them, and it's legit. Here's another one of their semis, right? Aries' flagship product is a heavy truck with choice of electric battery or hydrogen fuel cell. A former top General Motors GM engineer, Ian Hanna, believes in pursuing hydrogen and battery technology in tandem. A former head of GM System Safety Operations in China, Hanna now leads Aries Motors. Great. So we got GM boys working for Aries. That's great. An ambitious OEM startup. What distinguishes Aries in combination of electrical intellectual property for vehicle fuel cells and partnerships with Chinese manufacturers that allow it to scale up vehicle production very quickly? Y'all might be able to tell, dude, producing anything anywhere for some reason takes a while and costs a lot more money unless you're in Asia. Someday that might get fixed. Will it ever? I don't think so in our lifetime. But for some reason, is it just that Asia's just willing to dive into the stuff way years, lots of years before us, before Europe? I don't know. Or is there regulations that might slow us down? I know that's definitely one of the reasons. Aries' flagship product is a heavy truck. Already talked about it, the loads, the numbers, they're all here. They've got a proprietary fuel cell engine they're talking about. They've got technology. There's no reason for Aries to go and reinvent the electrical power system, okay? We have great partners that already know how to do it really well right now. We will be able to hit the ground with significant volume, very short time. Great. Got a partnership with Sunrise Power, China's premier manufacturer of fuel cells. So they're not making everything in-house, which is fine because they can do it now, man. Get this though, the new Aries energy stations will ensure the infrastructure is in place to support our BEV and FCEV vehicles. The energy station will include facilities for charging the BEV vehicles, hydrogen fueling pumps, traditional gas diesel pumps, and battery swap capabilities. All right, so we're getting a charger play with this too. Fantastic. Also builds city and highway buses, so we're going to get buses, as well as logistic vehicles and auto driving tractors for use in port and dock areas. All right, this is cool, but I'm instantly reminded of, hopefully you can remind me down in the comments, of another stock where I feel like they had all this also, but it was super cheap. It was an OTC, and this thing is saying, what was it, like $6 billion valuation? I don't know. But it's one of those things. If SPACs gets cool, I'm sure this will run. If these guys get a legit deal with UPS or something, making, selling these semis to UPS, I think we're going to multiply. How are we not? Look into this one, but this is kind of meh to me right this second. Supergroup, y'all remember them? The Betway's executives multi-year partnership with the National Hockey League. Now when you watch hockey, you're going to see the brand Betway up on the side of the hockey rink, hopefully underneath the ice, maybe on a shirt or two. These are the people that are mostly in the UK. We're saying they're going to get US exposure. It's happening. Hockey, dude. Hockey fans are totally hardcore. Fantastic. Hopefully get some hockey love in here. I love it. They're already saying for the NHL Stadium Series, NHL All-Star Weekend, the NHL Winter Classic, all of it. Y'all remember Blink Charging? They acquired Blue Corner, expanding European EV charging footprint. So Blink is taking over most of the United States. Now they're going over to Europe. That's huge for Blink. Go Blink. Quantum computers. Remember that? We have a really awesome one. Can anyone tell me what the ticker is on that? DM something, DYI, I believe. Y'all remember? We have another quantum one, but right away I was like, yeah, it's quantum cybersecurity, encryption reborn from the cloud. Great. But right away I think the other one, we get quantum everything. And it's the golden unicorn of the whole space, so it can do cybersecurity. But this thing is trying to be the number one for cybersecurity, which is fine, but I'm instantly more interested in the other one who gets more than cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is a big business. I'll take both, but I'm already thinking I'd rather already be another one. But look at this. They're already with some brands, honestly, I haven't heard of. Iridium, Juniper, Denton's, Neon, Verizon. They got Verizon. $1.1 billion of backlog and pipeline. That kind of blew my mind. So they got people that are like waiting for them to let this come out. This thing I'm sure is going to be big someday too. I don't know. What do y'all think about that one? Something to look at, macro. So inflation speeds up in April as consumer prices leap 4.2%. It's the fastest since 2008. What happened in 2008, 2007, 2009? Can anyone tell me? Stuff was tippy-toppy and getting ready to fall off a cliff. I hope that's not where we're at now. I mean, I definitely think, been talking about how the SPY needs to breathe. I definitely still think the SPY needs to breathe. We did a little bit last week, like we got down to this bottom channel, about 405. But look at what we have here. We have a gap that did not fill with that last dump, which was going to start at about 403 and end up where? Can you guess? Right at like $400, which is what I've been saying we need to hit. I don't think we're done. Look at even the volume. Can you see the volume? This was the big dump, right? Right around here of last week. Look at the volume. Look at this previous red volume that we've had in the past. We didn't even come close to matching that. I don't know if this is done, right? So again, I'm still gonna sit back and say I'm not touching anything unless it's super cheap crypto stuff that we're buying, right? That's multiplying like crazy. or SPACs that are pretty much floored. I'm not going to get in anything, especially if it's just anything, until at least this thing gets back to 400. Because we also have to fill this gap-a-rooney right here. Okay, we have to do it. Until then, I'm not going to believe it. Y'all with me? I just hope you're all getting protected. We got some news from Mr. Bill Hackman himself. Watched an interview here. Was this like Friday? Maybe it was like Wednesday or Thursday last week. I finally got a second to watch it, and he sold Starbucks. He sold all his Starbucks holdings. And what did he get into? Domino's. This guy's interesting. You know, I do like that he's not afraid of what people think of him, because I think a move from going from Starbucks to Domino's probably isn't looked as a cool thing. And he did something that isn't a cool thing, but he knows was better on paper. This guy's definitely old school in his thinking, which is fine. I think at least he's aggressive in the fact that he's not scared to pivot to something like Domino's, which I don't think is cool for the in crowds right now. Because I think Domino's is what he sees in it is what all the long-term value guys see. It's constant growth. People are always going to want a cheap pizza. The Starbucks has not been doing too well. The retail is where the money was. They lost out on a lot of that last year. Domino's just went up. Domino's is bulletproof. He doesn't want a $6 pepperoni pizza delivered. Honestly, I haven't had a Domino's pizza in a long time, but I might be kind of bougie when it comes to food. Call me crazy. More importantly, maybe, is he also said when the chick brought up the SPAC deal, right? He said, we have been working on it since early November. The same deal, by the way. He said, we are deeply engaged with an iconic, phenomenal, great business that meets all of our investment criteria. There is no certainty until we sign an agreement, though. He made that very clear. I think he was just kind of doing that to not sound too cocky, but he's slow playing it. He basically said he's not looking at anywhere else, though. If he didn't think he had in the bag, he would still be looking other places. And I don't think he was lying, all right? I think he was actually telling the truth. I think this one's pretty much in the bag, but he's just super conservative. Just fine, just pay attention to it. This could be good. Iconic, it's Subway, bro. I'm honestly hoping it's Trader Joe's at this point. Phenomenal, great business. I don't know. It hits all of his investment criteria, though, so remember that. I don't see Stripe working with this. Do you? Would it be too blown out, far gone? I don't know. Still a mystery regardless. I'm just hoping, and it sounds like to me, it is going to be a legit deal on paper, because Mr. Conservative, I don't think, would have it any other way. Are y'all still floating around with me? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed this, please give us a thumbs up and make sure and subscribe.
Oh, check out this new coin I made. If you want to buy one just like this, just head to the website and click Buy Silver. Please friend us on Twitter and StockTwits.